described those goals earlier this week by Wondolowski. A lot of people have fallen victim to him, but you're disappointed that...
Yeah, I think it's BS. I think we could talk about it. The dude can score 150 goals in our league. 120 of them are the same way, and we don't have the presence in the situation to find that guy's body and to know where he is. Just has to be better. Because look, ultimately it's a game. It doesn't really matter what happens between the 8 teams sometimes. It's just a matter, especially with the way they play. It's a matter of executing in the boxes. And it was a game. Each team was just trying to gain some advantage in the game and then execute on that advantage. They got 2 off of switches of play. We don't close out the crosser, give him too much space. He just smashes one across the face of the goal. We don't know where the forward is, the one guy who's leading the league in history in scoring. We don't even know where he is, and he just side foots one in. Again, he's scored 120 of 150 goals like that. To me, it's frustrating because our performances aren't so bad. Our execution in the final third on either side is just not where. If you want to take points, it's got to be better. Got to protect our goal better. And we've got to put away chances that we have in front of their goal. I think they had, maybe three chances, of which they put away 2. We have a whole bunch around their goal. I don't know the exact number, but multiple of which, most of them we don't even get on goal and make the keeper make saves. So, again, ultimately the game comes down to the execution of key moments. And those are the wins and losses and draws come down to those moments.
Greg, rare starts for Liam and Richie today. What did you sort of see from those two getting full 90s?
I thought they were fine. I thought Liam did what we asked of him on the day. We knew it was going to be a game where he and the 2 center backs were going to have to, on the attacking side anyways, get the game going, try to get Liam on the other side of it so that he could then start to initiate attacks, because it was going to be a lot of balls played into post-up players, Josie, or into guys high, who were then bouncing back to guys facing forward, and then we needed to go start the attack off of that stuff. So we knew Liam would be picking up balls going forward. The midfielders at times picking up balls going forward. I thought he and Drew and Chris generally did a pretty good job of getting things started, and then it became, what is the execution when you find that guy now facing forward and running at them. And I thought Liam was fine. There's a couple of scenarios. There's a whole bunch of scenarios where we as a team, we get that guy facing forward and we have space to drive, and we turn and we just pass the ball off. And against a team that's man marking, you don't want to pass the ball to a guy who's marking. You got to drive at that space and force somebody to come off of somebody, and then the pass becomes clear and obvious. But too many times we pass the buck in situations where we have the opportunity to make the difference, and we just pass it off to somebody else. But again, that guy's marked, so it's a much more difficult scenario for him. Side note, though, I thought Liam, he did fine. He tough task dealing with Eriksson, and I thought he did a solid job of doing that. It's a strange game for a young player to have to kind of manage things that are relatively unique at times, but I thought he did a good job. Richie, I thought his start to the game in his first half was just his pace, his quickness, his speed was difference making. He was able to, whenever he could face up, it was almost like he was getting free. He was getting to the end line, possible PK when he gets around the corner there. We don't seem to get those right now. I feel like we've had a couple games ago. This game. But I thought Richie was, he was provoking in one-on-one situations, and he was doing a nice job of doing that. Once Aro had to come out and he dropped back, I thought Richie got a lot more conservative. There was moments where I think he could have been more aggressive, but he was trying to do his job at the point. But again, I think you see some of the qualities that Richie has that are going to be useful going forward. But they both were okay. They did their jobs on the day.
How much did you miss Michael?
Yeah, I mean, you miss Michael every day. It's leadership, it's organization. Maybe sometimes on those movements forward, maybe Michael a little more comfortable driving into the next line and then finding the pass off of it, things like that, where he's got he's been more of an 8 in his pass, where he's used to attacking a little bit more, maybe a little bit different out of those scenarios. But you always miss Michael. How much you can, it's hard to say, but you always miss it. It's not to, I thought Liam had a good game, so it's not to say anything about Liam's game, but you always miss a guy like Michael. You miss a guy like Oso too, who has the ability to wiggle away in one-on-one situations and get facing forward. So those are, obviously Pozuelo is a difference maker. You miss him and his ability to get on the other side of guys. If you could imagine a scenario where we play into Josie and Pozuelo's moving off it and he has the ball, it's a different look because his capacity to hit the final pass or the shot or things like that is a little different. We miss guys, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to plays. It plays in our box and plays in their box.
With Bradley and Oso so close, or are these ailments that may affect next week?
They're not bad. Oso's got inflammation in the hip growing area where he had the hernia surgery, jammed his heel into the ground, and it just kind of flamed up on him, and so we've got to get that calmed down. Don't know the timeline, but he's moving around okay. It's just the ability to, again, to strike the ball, to hit passes, things like that require those muscles to work. Michael is questionable, but I think he might be able to get there for the week. He's a guy that's going to do everything he can. He's strong, and today he just didn't have enough top speed to be ready to go. So it did make sense for us to force him, and he wasn't quite ready for today. We'll see if he can maybe be ready for next week. I don't have a definitive answer but it'll be close.
Greg, you mentioned lack of execution. How much has that been sort of like an issue when we look at these last 5 games as a whole?
It's a big issue. I mean, when you look at games, Philadelphia second half, we created a lot of opportunities. I thought we got into good areas of the field. We lacked the connection and the quality between the final pass, the final run, and the finish. In the second half of Philadelphia, then we end up giving up a goal in transition and we lose the game. You look at DC, we create an incredible number of attacking opportunities. Again, we missed the connection between the final pass, the final run, and the shot. Somewhere where those three things have to connect. Salt Lake, we had a couple of great opportunities, I thought, early in that game. Then I think physically we sort of petered out after we gave away a soft goal. Again, tonight I think we have enough opportunities at 1-0. Markey has a header. We have a couple other opportunities maybe at 1-0 to push it to 2-0. At 2-0, I think the image of the game changes a lot. We don't have to be so stretched out necessarily. We could be a little bit tighter, but then at 1-1, you can feel that we're chasing it a little bit, and we don't execute in those moments, and we give away the second one. But goals change games, and if you can put things in the back of the net, it changes sort of the emotion and the mentality of the group and the feeling of the group. And when opportunities go missing, it gets frustrating. It feels like it puts more weight on your defending effort because you can't make mistakes on the defending side. Execution is a big part of it. I would be more concerned if we weren't creating chances at all, but I think we're getting into good spots to be able to create chances. I think our execution on the final action has to be better, and that's more quality. That is better timing. It's a lot of details that end up being the difference.
Do you need to upgrade the roster to do that?
It's part of it. Yeah, I think so. I think, again, the execution and the crossing situation. Sometimes I think, Richie showed us a little bit today what a little speed can do on the outside for us in those one-on-one situations. Richie's not really a winger. We need some more guys who have that capacity to run into depth and for our passers, especially when Pozuelo's on the field. Also, those guys are great at creating space. Josie's laying the ball off to guys, and he's also a good passer. So I think there are pieces of the puzzle that are still missing that will help us on that side, the execution side. And I think there's pieces in the back that are still missing that might help us to be a little more stable in terms of goal prevention.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.